Don't you sometimes wish that President Trump was more like some fictional presidents? How about Michael Douglas in The American President or Morgan Freeman in, well, just about any film? Well, tonight we take a look at fact versus fiction. Then, remember the Metro North derailment that killed 4 people in the Bronx just a few years ago? Could it possibly have been prevented? Well, we're teaming up with the Journal News on an exclusive report with new information about that tragedy. Also, we are tracking Jose, yet another storm churning in the Atlantic, and this one could impact our area. We take a look at what we could expect to see. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French, and thank you so much for joining us this Friday evening. Well, tonight I'm going to begin here with a little bit of a diatribe or an opinion piece, whatever you want to call it. I think I speak for just about everyone when I say TJIF. It has been a week where we have seen the aftermath of natural disasters just being calibrated. Terrorism again being felt on European soil. Rhetoric escalating with North Korea. And of course, our president giving mixed messages both on policy and inexplicably Charlottesville. Now, I know Donald Trump believes that he has the capacity to be presidential. Don't believe me, just listen to Mr. Modesty himself.
With the exception of the late great Abraham Lincoln, I can be more presidential than any president that's ever held this office.
He said that. Now, just imagine if the Donald's healthy, though delusional self-image were true. Presidents that we hold in high regard, they've been immortalized on the small and large screen for facing national challenges and crisis with calls for unity, courage, and putting country above self.
No. Leave the Constitution alone.
The peace commissioners appear today or
state by state
on the morning.
I can't listen to this anymore. I can't accomplish a goddamn thing of any human meaning or worth until we cure ourselves of slavery and end this pestilential war.
You cannot address crime prevention without getting rid of assault weapons and handguns. I consider them a threat to national security, and I will go door to door if I have to, but I'm going to convince Americans that I'm right, and I'm going to get the guns.
Well, let's not stop there. How about let's go global? How about if a meteor, well, don't stop there. What about aliens if they attacked us? Once again, I think we'd hope the commander-in-chief would be, well, I don't know, maybe a source of leadership.
Today, none of us are strangers. Today, we are one family, stepping into the darkness together.
The 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
When you have a Randy Quaid sighting, maybe you've jumped the shark, and maybe I went a little too far with that last one. But believe it or not, I'm actually getting to a point here. Not only, in my opinion, has the president acted so outside the norms of the presidency, but I worry whenever his term in office ends, he will forever harm the office. Now, I've spoken to several historians of all political bents here who, without exception, concur with the following: that we have never in our history had a president so ill-prepared, ill-informed, and incurious. That we've never had an occupant with such a propensity to lie, so self-destructive, or so overtly at war with the courts, the press, and seemingly every elected figure, even ones of his own party, let alone allies. He's taken pride in promising to ignore laws he doesn't like. He's shown disdain for freedoms of speech, religion, and the press. He's gone after minorities and, of course, immigrants, women, and, well, you know, just about everybody other than white guys. Now, I know I'm not breaking new ground here, but reconcile with what I just said, which I believe to be empirical fact, and the fact that Donald Trump took a constitutional oath 9 months ago to, among other things, quote, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So this all begs the question. If we can endure this clown-carving administration, will this be regarded as some historical curiosity, or will it leave indelible scars in the office of the presidency for whomever follows Donald J. Trump into that seat? Well, to answer that question, let's assess what he's already done. His closest advisors, they may have colluded with our enemy to rig last year's election. He then leaned on both senior intelligence and law enforcement officials to drop the investigation. He fired the lead investigator, FBI Director James Comey. When he wouldn't let it go, then Trump, he went postal on any and every official who's investigating or supports the investigation of him. This week, we learned he humiliated the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, calling him an idiot, among other things, and demanded his resignation. What was his unforgivable expense, or sin, I should say? Well, that would be following the law and deciding to recuse himself because of Sessions' involvement in the Trump campaign. Well, he's reportedly examined, has the president, preemptive self-pardoning for family and friends. And on the subject of family, they're knee-deep in conflicts of interest and haven't been shown to be above QVCing just about anything if they can line their pockets using, of course, the seal of the Oval Office as the imprimatur. We still have no idea what's in the Donald's tax returns, and ethics concerns have all been laughed away by our new commander-in-chief. Apolitical norms, they've already been turned on their ear. Somehow, you're going to have to think about this one, a speech at the Boy Scouts Jamboree became a diatribe about his electoral process. And with the names of fallen Secret Service agents behind him the day after his election, he decided to launch into a screed about the media and his imagined inauguration crowd sizes. He has forever destroyed whatever decorum we had left on the campaign trail. And again yesterday, he could not unequivocally condemn white supremacists. Think about that. Our president couldn't go there. But in the same day, he demanded the firing of a media personality at ESPN who claimed that the president was a bigot. Now, here's a question. This is just out of curiosity, mind you. When Donald Trump called Obama a racist back in 2009, and those were his exact words, and oh, by the way, he spent 8 years fraudulently claiming Obama wasn't an American citizen, thereby not a legal president, should NBC have fired him from The Apprentice? But I digress. Today again, he marginalized an ally who just suffered a terrorist attack by either lying about non-existing facts out of whole cloth or releasing classified intelligence. First it was the Israelis, today it was the Brits. Think about what this president said about leaks coming from other sources. The question is, where does this all leave us? We've seen unprecedented leaking from government agencies, understandably concerned with either lies or damning abuses of power by this administration. Now, I get their concerns, but this precedent that they're doing is just as scary. This is not good for a government, this amount of leaking. The same thing goes for the war on the media and the media's rejoinder, and I'm just as guilty as anybody out there. This new term we all use, fake news, it's scary when alternative realities somehow become okay and facts become depending on the source and whatever the political concerns are of the listener. That's not good for this country. Politicizing the courts and the media, for that matter, equally concerning. Questioning the court's legitimacy and independence, which he's done, and threaten the very concept of the separation of powers, that is not good for America. Now, I want you to think about the following things, and unfortunately, recent history has shown it's a very strong possibility. What happens if we're attacked in a terror attack, and this president demands special powers here? Do you really think it's beyond the realm of possibility? What happens, God forbid, if this president goes before the country and says he needs to declare war? Do we have complete faith in the president? And where will it go from there? And what if a court rules against this president in this ongoing investigation and this president doesn't comply? The point is, we are in somewhat unprecedented times. And I know all of us, sometimes myself included, there's this reality show aspect of watching it and not knowing what the next episode is going to bring with this president, this administration. But this will leave scars well beyond his term in office. And I don't think any of us are equipped right now to see just how far lasting they will be. All right, coming up next, we have new information about the Metro North derailment in the Bronx. It killed 4 people. And now there's questions about, could this have possibly been avoided? Several people are saying the definitive answer to that question is yes.